What's up guys, Donnie here. This is another segment of Simply Explained. We're gonna see if it's a good idea to buy a Tesla. And by that I mean financially a good idea. So let's get started. Keep in mind, this is a finance related video. We won't be talking about car features, specs, range, cup holders, or other frivolous details. Now I'm gonna open up a spreadsheet here. I know it's a spreadsheet, but I'm gonna make this as simple as possible, okay? We're not gonna make it too complicated. I'm also gonna provide some shortcuts in the description down below so you can skip ahead to see which vehicles we'll be comparing throughout the video. So let's go ahead and switch over to the thing here. Okay, so I have pre-populated a lot of this. We're going to be comparing the Tesla Model Y, which is the most recent model that just came out, and we're also going to be comparing it to the average ICE car, that's an internal combustion engine car. You see here, these are the costs that we're going to be working with. I'm not going to add anything specific, including rebates or tax-specific, state-specific taxes, because that's just going to complicate things a little more. We're going to try to keep it as simple as possible here. This is going to be the average. Before we get into that, obviously ICE cars use gas and Teslas use batteries by kilowatt per hour and gas. Don't worry about how these are converted. We're just going to be looking at the numbers here. So the most important thing here is I've already converted for you. It's going to be cost per mile. Okay. Now the Tesla Model Y is $50,000, and the average ICE car, we're just going to go with $30,000. Obviously, that's not an exact number. We're going with the average gas price in the United States here, and the average price of electricity here, which is 13 cents per kilowatt hour, $2.50 per gallon. The Tesla Model Y averages 4 miles per kilowatt hour, and the average ICE car is 24 miles per gallon. You can see here the price per mile is significantly less for the Model Y, and this pretty much goes with every other Tesla model as well. 0.03 cents, 3 cents per mile as opposed to 10 cents per mile, and this is considering gas and miles per gallon, of course. Now we're going to pretend that this is just going to be 60 miles. You're going to be driving 60 miles a day. We're only going to assume this is going to be for your work commute, okay? So 30 miles one way, 30 miles back. That's pretty average. We're going to do this by 5 days per week, so we're not going to include the weekends. We're going to exclude any weekend traveling. This is the same thing per month, and then 50 weeks per year. I'm going to make it 50 weeks instead of 52 because obviously we're going to have some vacation time, right? Now here's the calculations. We can change these values whenever we want, but we're going to go ahead and go forward. This is how much we're going to be saving per week. The Model Y, you're spending about $10, and let's go back here. This is assuming you charge at home overnight, okay? You don't need to go to a gas station. We're not going to be using any superchargers. This does not include maintenance costs, no rebates, and no credits, okay? So this is basically just gas, savings in gas when you're using an electric vehicle from Tesla. So $21.28 per week. You save $89.36 per month, and over the course of 1 year, you save $1,063 considering these values we've put here. So the difference between these two cars is $20,000, okay? Assuming just gas savings for a 60-mile work day, we're going to be saving $1,000 per year, and it takes you 18 years, almost 19 years to recoup that cost difference, right? So that's not really the best, comparison. Let's say you have a longer commute. Maybe you have an hour-long commute. So we're gonna make it 120 miles per day. So an hour long one way and then an hour back. Now we're seeing here a savings of $2,000 per year. And that makes it so you recoup that cost in 9.4 years, okay? That's pretty good. But most people, they keep their cars for 3 to 5 years, right? But it's not really the best comparison because you're in a Tesla, right? It's a premium vehicle. It's not super premium, but it's a lot better than the average ICE car, right? So let's change it up a little bit. We're gonna switch to a Model 3 instead, which is a little more similar in price, okay? We're gonna keep the same parameters here, the average gas and kilowatt hours. The price is now $10,000 difference between the average ICE car. And same thing here, same miles per gallon. the cost per mile ends up being 0.07 of difference. 60 miles per day again. The cost per year, this is assuming again 30 miles one way, 30 miles back for a 5-day work week. 1,063 cost per year. Your years to recoup is now 9.4 years. Now let's say you did a 1 hour commute each way. So again, your savings are 2,000. Now your recuperation, the time to recoup your cost is 4.7 years, which is pretty good. Now let's change the parameters a bit, okay? We're gonna assume that you drive around a lot. Maybe for some reason you drive an hour and a half each way, okay? So that's gonna be, what is that? 180 miles. And this is gonna be for the Model Y on top and the Model 3 in the bottom. You're saving 3,000 per year on the Y, same on the 3. And it's gonna take you 6 years on the Y and 3 years to recoup your cost. Remember, this is not including taxes, this is not including maintenance, which you have a lot less of. There's no oil changes, there's nothing like that. Remember, a Tesla has only 20 moving parts as opposed to an ICE car that has 2,000, okay? So there's a lot less that can go wrong. Well, okay, so these are pretty good. 3 years, and then after that, it's all butter. You're just gonna keep saving money in the tune of 3,000 compared to an ICE car. If you keep your car longer than 3 years, longer than 6 years as compared to an ICE vehicle that costs $30,000. Now, what if we change the parameters even more? Now, let's say you are an Uber driver. You travel for work or something, okay? This is comparing the Model 3 to an Uber car or a Dodge Charger. We're using a Dodge Charger here because we have real-world data that the Bargersville Police Department in Indiana have. They bought a Tesla Model 3 to test out the savings as opposed to a regular Dodge Charger, which they use as their police vehicles. Now, they've shown that they actually save about $6,000 over this amount of time. And this looks like this is about 1 year, August 9, 2019 to August 2020. Now, if you look at this, the Dodge Charger on the top for the gas, oil maintenance, and the total cost at the end, as opposed to the Model 3, which is really just electricity. There's no maintenance, there's no oil changes. They ended up saving $6,755 during that time. Now, obviously, they're driving a lot more than we do, and I pretty much got the estimate here that they're driving about 240 miles a day, if not more, right? Which was a cost savings of 6,500 on my calculator here. And they pretty much recouped that in under a year. Now, if you are an Uber driver, Tesla is the way to go, because after that first year, or at the most 2 years, you're gonna be saving $6,000. And this is, of course, assuming that your watts and the average gas is the same as the Dodge Charger. Let's change this up. Maybe you have a more efficient vehicle. 30 miles per gallon is pretty amazing, right? Now, if you're driving 240 miles a day, you're still recouping that amount in 1.3 years. That's with a similarly priced vehicle, $36,000. And remember, this is not counting maintenance and oil changes. Now let's change things a little bit more. Let's say you want Model Y and your price range is a lot higher. So 50,000 for the Model Y. This is not, remember, these vehicles do not include the autopilot. That's a totally different machine here. We're gonna look at the Lexus RX 350 because this is a very similar vehicle in regards to quality and you know, the price, what you get inside the vehicle and how nice the car is, right? This one is 22 miles per gallon. We're gonna keep the same gas even though this Lexus uses premium gas, okay? We're just gonna keep it like that. We're assuming 60 miles per day, 30 miles you're just going to work and back locally, 30 miles one way. You save $1,200 a year, and you're recouping that cost in 3.5 years. So that's pretty good. Of course, if you're driving more, let's say you're driving an hour each way, you're gonna be saving $2,411, and you're recouping that cost in less than 2 years. Now, one thing you should remember with Tesla cars is they also do not depreciate as fast as ICE cars. Now, there is a study that electric vehicles depreciate around 50%, but that doesn't include the Tesla cars. Specifically, the Tesla Model 3 has kept a depreciation rate of about 10% in 3 years. That means it goes down in value by 10% only in 3 years. So this means this one is 10% because this is a Model 3 and this one is also a Model 3. Okay, let's make it so it's a little easier to see. Okay, I've made things a little bit different, easier here to see. I split it so you can still see which cars we're looking at. Remember, the depreciation for the Tesla Model 3 is only 10% over 3 years. That means if you wanted to resell these cars, we are looking at 10% depreciation for the Model 3s. That means it goes down by only $4,000 after 3 years. And whether this is because of demand or because Teslas get better over time because of the over-the-air updates, it's probably a combination of that or what else, you know. But we're going to assume about the same as a Model Y. Considering the Model Y is actually outpacing the Model 3 right now, this might be a conservative amount. 15%, I'm assuming a 15% depreciation over 3 years for the Model Y. So after you resell the Model Y in 3 years, we're looking at a profit of $42,500. That means you've only lost $7,500 after 3 years, right? As opposed to the average ICE car, which lost $10,500 in resale value. So after 3 years, remember, with just 60 miles workday, you've saved $3,000 in gas costs. So that makes up for the difference here. You end up being in the green after 3 years if you decide to resell your cars. Over here, it's even a bigger difference. You lose $10,000 over the course of 3 years as opposed to $4,000 for the Model 3. And the Dodge Charger, $12,000. And then the Lexus Y, you lose a whopping $15,000 in value if you end up reselling it after 3 years as opposed to $7,500. So it's something to think about. Now, what is the conclusion here? Is it a good idea to buy a Tesla? Well, it depends, right? It depends if you commute a lot. It depends if you want the luxury of a Model Y, or if you're okay with a Model 3. Maybe you need the space of a Model Y. A lot of differences here. Now, there's also another thing to keep track of. What about solar? What if you have solar? Okay, let's say 50% of your you generate 50% of what you use to charge the Tesla with solar. Okay, that basically changes the cost per mile. It lowers it by half. Now, it's not going to double what you the cost difference per year, but it's gonna add to it a lot. So you add $300 here after 3, assuming you travel for 60 miles per day. But if you were to travel 120 miles, you are saving not just $2,000, but $2,600 per year. And the recoup cost goes even lower every time. Every time, because of your solar. Imagine now that your solar was 100%. Let's say for somehow you have 100% solar for your house and for your car. Okay, that means you're paying 0 for electricity. You recoup this with a 120 or a 60 mile commute each way in 6.4 years. You get the Tesla Model 3 as opposed to a regular ICE car in 3.2 years, and the Lexus in 1.3 years. So there's a lot of savings to go. After these years of recuperation, you're gonna be saving this much money as opposed to your gas car. And remember, this is not including maintenance. This does not include oil changes, anything like that. And you still have the depreciation value of your ICE car. So in general, I would say, yeah, it's a good idea to get a Tesla. But if you can't afford it right now, what can I say? Maybe you should just get a, ride the current car you have down to the ground and then wait for the next Tesla, right? We're assuming they're going to be having a $25,000 vehicle in the next 2 years, 2022. So it might be a good idea to wait. Well, there you have it, guys. We did some math in regards to having a Tesla as opposed to an ICE vehicle. Obviously, you get your money's worth when you get a Tesla Model Y or a Model 3, but this is not including the S and the X. Obviously, they're a lot more expensive, but there we go. Remember, if you have a gas guzzler car, or if the gas goes up or the electricity goes up, it's going to be a lot different than this. If you were in California, like where I live, the electricity obviously is much more expensive, which is also why we have solar panels. Remember, also Tesla offers solar panels for lease, and they are very good rates. They charge you only monthly for the lease. They don't charge you when you want to get rid of it, which is really cool. So yeah, tell me your opinion on the Tesla. See if you're gonna get one. Are you gonna get the Cybertruck coming out in a few years? Are you gonna get the $25,000 model that they're gonna be having? Or are you gonna stick with your ICE vehicle? Let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to check the links down below in the description. Get a free stock when you sign up on Robinhood. On Webull, get 4 free stocks worth up to $1,600 each when you deposit $100 or more, and get $10 credit from M1 Finance when you deposit $100 or more into the account. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you think someone is gonna get some value out of this video, please don't hesitate to share it to them. It'll really help the channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. So if you appreciated this vehicle,